I'd like to throw some disclaimers out there for myself, which is everything stated in this video is my own opinion, and I am not stating any of my opinions as fact, although I'm not going to say I believe before everything I say because that would get really annoying. So here we go. Okay, feminism is a really broad topic, and I want to start by saying that everybody here is discussing their feelings on their own concepts of feminism, which I think is sometimes difficult to do because we're probably all saying different things, or we're all saying things on different ideas, which is making it difficult to have a clear conversation, especially in the comments like on Gabi's video. So I just want to start by talking about my own personal idea of what feminism is, because I think that's important. And I think that each of us need to start by saying what feminism is to us. So feminism to me is the idea that all people, not all men and women, should be created equally. And I specify people versus men and women because I don't want feminism to honestly become about gender, and that seems kind of backwards. But there are a lot of things, and there's a lot of tendency to lump into gender binary if you say men and women, and then what about people who are agender or who are genderqueer or anything in between, and there's so much in between and out of the circle and out of the boxes that it's hard to talk about. Also, for me, feminism is not pinning men against women or women against men or is any way polarized, because I think that's dangerous, and I think that that's what a lot of people talk about. That's kind of, seemed to kind of be Gabi's idea to me, that it's kind of a society and man versus woman and the importance of that interaction, and I just don't think that way. I don't like to think that way, so I'm not going to. I also think that to some degree that's what Doug was talking about with the men not being able to be engaged on this subject. And once again, I think that everybody has something to say, especially when it comes to equality, and maybe I'm giving feminism too much credit and saying that it is this kind of all-encompassing thing, and I'm sure it's not in a lot of people's minds, but to me, and that's why I don't like labels, to me it's about equality, and it's about equality across all sorts of different things, and it should really pay attention to more of those kind of intersectionality issues. For instance, like women of color and men of color, probably more women of color in feminism. I think that there is a tendency to have some inclusiveness on sexual orientation or gender expression in feminism, and that I appreciate a lot. I'm just going to address some of the things that have already been said because I think that bringing anything new to the table is just going to be too much. One at a time, guys, one at a time. And actually, I would really like it if the people who haven't really defined it for themselves, if you're willing to make a quick video as a response to this or as whatever, just saying what feminism means to you, because I think before talking about this at all, we have to establish that. So I want to talk about going backwards, because I just went through and watched all the videos. I've been kind of out of touch, and oh my god, I had a lot to catch up on. So looking at Doug's video, especially at the end, talking about, I guess I'm going to say sexuality and sexual expression, for lack of better words, I think that it's a dangerous thing to get into. And personally, I do not feel comfortable judging anybody on any of their own decisions because their decisions do not affect me. So, Doug, while you're saying for yourself that you think that sex is something very personal, and I don't know if you use the word sacred to yourself, that's not going to be the case for everybody. And for somebody else who doesn't think that way, as long as they're not forcing that on anybody or forcing themselves on anybody, go do whatever you want. Be bunnies. It's not my life, it's not my decision, and I don't think that it's a dangerous thing for society with the amount of protection that we have. Whatever you want to do, as long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as it's consensual, have fun. And it doesn't have to be what I want to do, and it doesn't have to be what Doug wants to do or what Michael wants to do or what anybody else in the world wants to do, as long as it's you and your partner are interested, go for it. And for me, I think that that's where the double standard lies. And I don't think that anybody should be praised for their sexual choices. That's a little weird to me, to be like, man, good job. That's too much. But I do think that talking about, I think that nobody should be criticized for it either. And I think it should just be a neutral thing, like, oh, cool. Hope you had fun. I also want to talk about makeup and the idea of women having to spend more time, and the comments on that video I thought were very interesting. So makeup is a personal choice, just like not wearing makeup is. What is important to focus on in that issue is the societal aspect that goes behind that idea. The fact that women are not forced, but women are deeply encouraged to wear makeup. If you look at media, if you look at advertising, like pick up a Cosmo that is very definitely geared towards women, and how many advertisements in that are makeup, and how many of the women do we see in public media are wearing makeup, and how many of those women look cute all the time, and how it is that pressure, that societal and mostly from the media pressure coming down, that makes women feel as though they have to feel put together, and that's the problem. It's not the fact that as a personal human being I feel that I need to be put together to leave my room that's the problem. It's a problem of the fact that that's coming down on me from this higher idea within our society that comes through all the time everywhere, and that doesn't have the same effect on males. And if you need convincing of this, I will make another video, but for the moment I'm just going to leave it at that I think that's a bigger issue than it really seems, and it's not like one of those, oh, first world problem thing. It's one of those things that, yes, we need to fight for equality, and it's not that we need to fight for equality that boys talk to us when we don't have makeup on or something. It's that we need to look at what's causing us to feel that way, and that needs to be changed. It needs to be from a top-down change and not bottom-up, and that's that. Thirdly, Michael used some words, and then I didn't correct him, I questioned his use of words, and he responded and said something like, I wonder when somebody's gonna make a proper terminology video. And terminology is difficult. There isn't a proper terminology. I can't make a proper terminology video. I don't think anybody can, because I don't think that there is. But I think that one should be careful when using terminology, because it's unclear to a lot of people as to what you mean. So Michael, you said all males need to be careful when talking about feminism. And the reason I questioned that, all males or all men, is because you then continued to say something about women. I wanted to clarify that sometimes somebody who may be biologically identified as a male, as somebody who has male sex organs, may identify as a woman. Woman and female is not necessarily synonymous, and nor is male and man. And so just being conscious of when you're using that language can be really helpful, especially in these kind of discussions, because it can be unclear as to whether you really mean males or you mean men, or whether you really need women or you mean need women, whether you really mean women or mean females. Another thing that I asked was all people versus all men and women. And once again, it's a wordage thing, and I'm really conscious of words a lot of the time, so I apologize if I get picky on those. But I asked that because of, first of all, as I stated earlier, there's that kind of middle category, and also because there are other issues besides men and women that cause us to kind of be at a disadvantage, that cause us as a general us, that cause certain people to be at a disadvantage. Are you talking about equality among those, or are you only talking about equality between these kind of two very binary groups? I'm going to stop because I'm at 13 minutes of recording. I'm sorry if I didn't really continue the discussion, but I hope I contributed to the discussion. I think this is really interesting. It's really entertaining to have, especially because we've seen that we all kind of have very different ways of approaching this. So I hope this is something we can continue, and if you're going to comment, please be kind and please be considerate, and remember that they're a human being, and just as clearly explain yourself as possible, and maybe we can continue a discussion. Okay, I hope you all are having a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you next week when I think we take on a lighter topic. I will see you all later, and I hope you have a good day.